Hey, what's going on everyone? Sam here from Lake Pro Tackle. Guys, this video we're going to be going over all the different types of topwater lures we have here at Lake Pro Tackle. If you're interested in getting any of these that I specifically mentioned here, or, I'm going to mention kind of on the side, guys, check out lakeprotackle.com. We've got tons of stuff for you, and we're going to be breaking down a whole bunch of topwater lures here today. We've got a whole basket full of them. Now, we've got different variations of each, but I'm going to kind of break it down based on the type of lure that it is, if it's in a specific, subcategory or category. We're going to talk about those, and this might be a little lengthy video, guys, so stay tuned. I hope you enjoy it. If you enjoy the content you're seeing here, please subscribe on YouTube, follow the social media, Instagram and Facebook, where we put out constant updates of what's going on here at the shop and some new stuff that we get in. So if we've got a really cool drop going on, guys, we're going to let you know about it on the Instagram and Facebook, and shortly after on YouTube. But guys, buckle up. This one's going to be a fun one. We're going to be talking about a bunch of those topwater lures, like I said. Let's go ahead and kick it off with one of my favorites of all time. I actually started, when I first started throwing topwater, this was the first one I had in my hand. This here is a buzzbait. Now the buzzbait, it looks very similar to something like a spinnerbait. However, this one here, it's not as heavy, and it's going to be meant for fishing on top of the water, hence the word topwater. So the buzzbait here, generally what it's going to have that makes it stand out is going to be a propeller-like blade. Generally they come in two sides. Sometimes they have three sides to them. Sometimes they have four. So the most common iteration of a buzzbait is going to have two sides. It's going to have a top and bottom blade on it. And then, this one here has a clacker on it. Some of them just come with the propeller on it. And some of them have some really interesting and unique other options to do. So some of them might have two of those prop styles with one little bait in the middle. And as you can see there right in the middle of this buzzbait, it's going to look very similar to something like a swim jig. Some of them come with a bare hook, some come skirted. There's a lot of iterations of buzzbaits out there, and what really sets the buzzbait apart from a lot of the topwaters on here is it has a single hook. It doesn't have a lot of treble hooks that can get caught on vegetation and stuff like that. This is a great bait to throw around reeds, great bait to throw around like lily pads, grass, any form of vegetation that you would traditionally get stuck in with a treble hook bait, such as like a spook or a popper. You can throw these buzz baits around the vegetation and not get hung up a lot. A lot of Elite Series guys love buzz baits, and a lot of pro level guys love buzz baits, is because a lot of people actually stopped throwing them. The Whopper Plopper became a much more favored topwater bait, but the buzz bait's making a big comeback, guys. And if you want to try them out, again, lakeprotackle.com is the place to be. We've got a bunch of these, not only from Booyah, but from Reaction Innovation. We got some Strike King, got a whole bunch of different brands. One of my favorites is going to be this Booyah one. This is the one I grew up throwing. The brand new one that we just got in is the Reaction Innovation one. It comes unskirted and allows you to do a lot of cool modifications with it. So guys, those are my two favorite buzz baits. We're going to move on here. I don't want this video to be super long, but next up we're going to talk about topwater frogs. Now these are hollow body frogs. They also have soft body frogs that you can use, but we're going to focus on these guys here. These are the hollow body frogs. Now there's two main subcategories in these. This one here, this one is going to be just the standard topwater frog, hollow body. It doesn't have a curved lip or anything. This one is meant for dragging. Typically, the way I think about it, this one I like to fish on top of really, really heavy cover a lot of the times, and even get it out into that open water, which I think it can really shine. The other one is going to be a popping hollow body frog, where it has a cupped lip in the front, generally going to be a little bit skinnier, kind of more along the lines of a popping style bait. So the reason I like this one here a little more is because I can fish it around open water. I can almost walk it like a spook, kind of get like a 2-in-1 action on it. This one here with the popping frog is great around and in vegetation because it makes that little bit of noise. It's very, makes a lot of noise in that vegetation so that fish can find it. So that's why I really like this one here in the vegetation and this one here right on the edges of the vegetation. So guys, I hope this little tidbit of information helps you if you're trying to decide which one to go with. They're great in both situations. However, sometimes fish want a little bit of commotion. This one here is going to be a little bit finessier. So we've got a bunch of different sizes in these. These here, this is the 60, this is the 65. We've got even smaller ones. We've got some from Jackal. We've got some from Spro, which is this one here. We've got, guys, a whole bunch of them. We also have soft plastic frogs, which are going to be made out of pure soft plastic that you reel at the surface and act kind of like the buzzbait, where it's just got a little kicker frog on the back of it. So next up, I already mentioned these earlier. The River to Sea Whopper Plopper has been a staple when they first came out. Now, a couple companies have come out with their own, like Berkeley's Chopo. This one here is great for covering open water areas, especially flats and stuff like that, maybe stump fields in and around trees, boat docks. You can fish this in almost any open water situation, and it's great at calling fish up. You know, the name is Whopper Plopper. The Berkeley Chopo chops a lot, and the plopper, we're just going to focus on this one here, but the Whopper Plopper, the way the tail's designed, it has a spinning tail on the back as you reel it in, two meaty treble hooks on there, so you can rip them out of just about anything. You're not going to have to worry about bending those hooks out. But the Whopper Plopper, as you reel it along, it goes plop, 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 and it imitates something running across the surface. We've got, I think, like 6 different sizes of these. This one here is going to be my go-to size. This is the Whopper Plopper 110, and it's just a great size bait for just about anything you're doing. You know, the 165, I think, is the next size up. Maybe, might be 130. I'd have to double check. But guys, the Whopper Plopper, this color here too, this is the bone color. Super great color, guys. Definitely highly recommend these. Even if you're pond fishing, you know, it might look big in my hand. However, this is just a snack for a lot of fish. Next up is going to be the spook style baits. These are going to be Topwaters, and you're going to walk the dog with them. If you don't know what walking the dog is, guys, we can do a separate video for that. But basically, these lures are going to go on the surface, and they're going to go left to right to left to right to left to right, kind of in a walking action. So we're going to focus on this one first. This is the OG. This is the Head Super Spook. This is the Super Spook Junior, so a little bit smaller size. But these get absolutely crushed. If you've got an area where the bait fish are moving a lot, and also at the top of the water column, these guys can call fish up from, 30 feet down pretty easily. If you like fishing Lake Texoma, I'm sure you've got a couple of these tied on at some point during the year. Again, calling bait up is one of the keys of this bait. It's got a hollow chamber in it, and it typically will have a single big rattle in there with a couple other knockers in there as well. So the Super Spook Junior, it's a very loud bait. It puts out a lot of commotion on the water, and you can work it really slow, you can work it fast. It really just depends. This one here, it doesn't have a cupped lip, but the next one we're going to talk about is the Evergreen Shower Blow. This is also considered a spook style lure. It's going to be very similar. This is more along the lines of like a pencil popper type body, or it's still going to be a spook body, except it has a cupped lip. And what happens is when you work this on top of the water with that cupped lip, it's going to actually spit a little bit of water out there, allowing you to slow down your retrieve when you're walking it. It's going to stop much suddenly, or much faster than the typical spook would, and it's going to allow you to cover water much more effectively on there. Next up, that brings us to a classic, the popper. This is a yellow magic popper. There's, Booyah makes a couple. There's tons and tons of different companies that make these poppers here. Rebel is one of the first ones that did it as well. But the popper is great for open water. Especially, I like to fish them in smaller areas. You know, if I'm in a little pocket around like a dock or something, I'm going to throw this on the back of the dock and kind of work it out. You know, you can do a lot of things with this one, very similar to something like the Evergreen Shower Blow that we just talked about. However, this one's a little more finessey, great for clear water applications. I won't generally throw this in, dirtier water, but this guy here comes in a ton of different colors. We highly recommend these poppers here. The Yellow Magic, worth the price tag on it, so go check these out. Next up are going to be the last two that we have. We're kind of be a little nichey. First up is going to be the Jackal Pompadour. This is going to be kind of like a batwing style bait where it really walks by itself on top of the water. It's very interesting. The action, it's very hard to describe, but basically you see the bait here. The wings on the side spread out, and it literally just kind of like walks side to side on top of the water there. So if you're interested in these, we have a bunch in stock. These are Jackal Pompadours. There's a couple other companies that make a couple like this, but the Jackal Pompadour is the OG, so go check that out there. And finally, that brings us to the Smithwick Devil's Horse. If you watch professional fishing, or maybe you're down in Florida, you know what this guy is here. This is great around vegetation for very lethargic fish, fish that are tucked in mats and stuff like that, you know, hyacinth grass. This is great for fishing on top of the water. It's great for calling fish out and getting them to eat. It has two props in the front and the back. So what you do with this, you throw it out there and you're gonna just pull it. Very subtly, slowly, you pull it. The props are gonna go spinning. It's gonna cause a little bit of commotion on the water. Not much, it doesn't make a lot of noise. It really just creates a disturbance on top of the water. So Smithwick Devil's Horse right there. I know they're very sought after lures, especially the OG ones before they started making them out of plastic. These ones here, plastic, these are the new versions, but if you can find the original, you know, metal ones, guys, you made it big because pros will pay a lot of money for those original Devil's Horses. But I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you've got any more top waters that you want us to really dive deep on, we're gonna do that for you. I'm gonna do a little breakdown of every single type of lure that we have in store. So guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on social media. We'll see you next time, guys.